Hello and welcome to another suspenseful new episode of Cindy in the News. It is May 29th and we might as well get started because we got a lot to cover. Because Minneapolis is on fire! After the killing of George Floyd, peaceful protests turned ugly once the police that had been so understanding during the haircut riots on April 16th began firing tear gas and rubber bullets at people as they sat calmly in the streets. The people of Minneapolis then began throwing rocks and water bottles and anything else they could get their hands on the police officers in full riot gear. Fires began soon after as the protesters broke into the 3rd Precinct police station and burned it to the ground. Police, however, had already evacuated the building. Not all fires were started by the protesters, however. One undercover police officer was filmed setting fire to an Autozone. He has since been identified as Jacob Pederson after his ex-fiancée recognized his face and mask as her own. The president, meanwhile, has condemned the rioters, calling them thugs who dishonor the memory of George Floyd. This is in stark contrast to when he tweeted about the haircut protesters, calling them very good people and saying that they were all just angry and wanted their lives back safely. He then urged police to talk to them and make a deal. Meanwhile, in reference to Minneapolis, he has promised Governor Tim Walz use of his military, and then threatened to kill American people by saying, "When the looting starts, the shooting starts." Trump also went on to criticize the mayor of Minneapolis, saying that he has a total lack of leadership, and called Jacob Frey a very weak, radical left mayor. Mayor Frey has since fired back, saying, "Weakness is pointing your finger at somebody else during a time of crisis." Donald Trump knows nothing about the strength of Minneapolis.
Weakness is refusing to take responsibility for your own actions. Weakness is pointing your finger at somebody else during a time of crisis. Donald Trump knows nothing about the strength of Minneapolis. We are strong as hell. Is this a difficult time period? Yes, but you better be damn sure that we're gonna get through this.
Trump's tweet about shooting looters has been flagged by Twitter with a note making it not immediately accessible. Users must click view on the side before being able to see it, and there is a link that gives you the option to read more about which rule was violated. In this instance, it is glorifying violence that has caused the partial censorship. Trump has since signed an executive order directing federal regulators to strip social media companies of their legal shield that says that they are not liable for content posted on their platforms. Legal experts have said that this order is unlikely to hold up in court and could actually be an infringement on the free speech of social media companies. If implemented, it would face several legal challenges. Speaking of violations of the First Amendment, a CNN reporter, Omar Jimenez, and his camera crew were arrested by police on air on Friday as it reported the riots. Jimenez is seen in the video identifying himself and his crew as reporters. Police say they were arrested for not moving when asked. However, Jimenez can be heard saying in the video, "We're getting out of your way, and put us where you want us, just let us know." CNN reporter Abby Phillip notes that Jimenez is a black Latino man. Meanwhile, his white colleague, Josh Campbell, is also on the scene in Minneapolis and reported that police approached him as well, asked him who he was with. He replied CNN and they said, "Okay, you're good." The arrested crew has since been released from police custody. The George Floyd protests have now spread nationwide, springing up in cities like New York, Denver, Colorado, Los Angeles, Columbus, Ohio, Louisville, Kentucky, and even here in Houston, Texas. The riots have some positive development, however, as the former Minneapolis police officer, Derek Chauvin, was charged with third-degree murder and manslaughter just this afternoon. He has been taken into custody by the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension as fires continue to burn from violent protests overnight as demonstrators demand justice for Floyd. Today's counts are 1,780,824 U.S. cases with 100,953 U.S. deaths. And as I leave you, remember the words of Martin Luther King Jr. It is not enough for me to stand before you tonight and condemn riots. It would be morally irresponsible for me to do that without at the same time condemning the contingent, intolerable conditions that exist in our society. These conditions are things that cause individuals to feel that they have no other alternative than to engage in violent rebellions to get attention. And I must say tonight that a riot is the language of the unheard. Words spoken March 14th, 1968, and still true today. Thank you for joining me tonight. This has been Cindy in the News. And don't forget to like and subscribe.